All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do our daily Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. Today felt like a bad day, but I'm going to go through why I don't think it was really that bad. I think it was kind of neutral. So I want to talk about the Bitcoin miners. We're going to go through the Bitcoin big board, and then I want to talk about Bitcoin itself and go through the charts, and we'll take a look and see what the heck is going on. Okay, let's start off by taking a look at the Bitcoin miner big board. So we almost had a clean sweep, straight red across the board. Core Scientific made a rally late in the day, so it actually ended up in the green 4.5. Otherwise, for most of this day, 100% of this board was red. When we get to the Bitcoin charts, I'm going to show you why I think that was a little bit of an over-exaggeration. So starting with the big two by market cap, Riot was down 4.29%, Marathon was down 6.8%, so those were pretty healthy moves to the downside. Cypher, which is the third largest market cap overall, was down 3.45%. HUT, which was the fourth largest market cap overall, was down 6.18%. So those are a lot of big moves to the downside. CleanSpark was down 6%. GREE was down 6%. A lot of down 2, down 3, down 4%. So I'll let you look at the board for a minute and find the Bitcoin miners you're interested in. But you can see, basically, other than Core Scientific, if you were in a Bitcoin miner today, it was red. Now, for some of you, you might feel like that was a buying opportunity. These were down pretty decently throughout the day. So obviously, not financial advice, and you guys got to make your own buying decisions. I just want to mention a couple of stories really quick that hit today that are relating to Bitcoin. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified every time we make a video. Okay, the first story, MicroStrategy buys 1,045 Bitcoin. They now hold 140,000 Bitcoin in total. So they finally rounded off to 140,000 Bitcoin. They are by far the largest holder of Bitcoin of any publicly traded company. It's not even close. So I do include this company on our big board, even though it's not a Bitcoin miner. And I am going to do a deep dive on MicroStrategy. So let me know in the comments below if you guys would like me to do a deep dive on MicroStrategy. I'm looking to do that this week. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in, if that's something that you're trading. So this is the second announcement in the last week that MicroStrategy has bought more Bitcoin. So they continue to buy in. They're very near their break-even point, and obviously they're way up on the year this year. Bitcoin is up massively so far in 2023. YouTube revenue's been way down, so we're offering a membership for $5 a month, which is a small cost, but it does help support the channel and helps keep me doing this on a daily basis. If you are interested, there's a library of members-only content already built up. In addition to that, we do a once-a-week live stream for the members-only. Also, there is a Discord for members-only that I'm active in on a daily basis. So we would love to have you join us, and a special thanks to all the existing members. The other story I want to mention is Texas bill limiting benefits for crypto miners unanimously passes committee vote. This was in CoinDesk. Somebody in my members-only Discord pointed this out to me, so I want to thank them. I did go and read this, so let me know if you want a deeper dive on this. But essentially, this is Senate Bill 1751. Texas has been extremely friendly to the Bitcoin miners, and as a result, the majority of the additional infrastructure added over the last year and a half in North America has been added in the state of Texas. The top 1, 2, and 3 Bitcoin miners by market cap have their largest facilities in Texas. There are several other that are affected by this. So again, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a deep dive on this. I think it's worth digging into because it does affect so many Bitcoin miners. Now, again, this bill is not passed yet. It passed through committee. This article goes on to say they think there's about a 95% chance that this bill will pass. So a quote from the Texas Blockchain Council Director of Business Development, Christine Cranley. She said, "We urge all Texas residents to reach out to their representatives and encourage them to vote against this anti-free market bill that would increase ERCOT's cost for procuring demand response services, ultimately leading to increased costs for Texas ratepayers and reduced grid stability." So the infrastructure that's been built by these Bitcoin miners, and a lot of it is still under construction or yet to be started, it's turning into a meaningful amount of Texas's overall energy infrastructure. So in response to that, one of the petitioners who's petitioning against Riot's facility in Texas, Navarro County, that's going to be their second facility, said the proposed new law is just revoking special treatment. It's not an attack on Bitcoin miners. So there's kind of both sides of the story real quick. If you want to deep dive, let me know. If this bill passes, the first, second, and third largest Bitcoin miners have the majority of their Bitcoin mining in the state of Texas. Okay, now let's get to Bitcoin and see what happened today, because the Bitcoin miner big board was very, very red. This seemed like a bad day, but if you look at this, as always, there's an orange line where Bitcoin was when the equity markets in the US closed yesterday. So Bitcoin was at about 28,199, so just under 28,200. So you can see we had a giant run up last night. We actually did have one 15-minute candle that candle wicked and tested this line of resistance at 28,800. That's the fifth or sixth time we've had a 15-minute candle test this line. We then had a nice big run up right before the US equity markets opened, and then, as often happens, just before the equity markets open, and then for the first 2 or 3 hours of the day. So essentially you can see I drew a yellow arrow. We were down for several hours to the point where we actually got below where we closed yesterday. However, we leveled off throughout the afternoon, and before the equity markets closed in the US, we did get back above where we were trading yesterday. So the markets today closed at about 28,242. So that's about $40 above where they closed yesterday. So virtually identical close on the day today. Obviously, Bitcoin itself does not close. It trades 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But the price action on Bitcoin from yesterday until today has been basically very, very flat. So I think what happened is today the markets were down a little, particularly the NASDAQ and the Russell 2000. The NASDAQ seems to be the one, if anything, that these Bitcoin miners follow along with most closely. So if we just look, you'll see overall the S&P was down 0.25. That's a very small move. The Dow was up 0.24, so that's a very small move. The NASDAQ had a reasonably sized move. It was down over 1% on the day. And the Russell was down 0.99%, so basically 1% on the day as well. So the momentum was a little bit to the downside today, and that seemed to carry through to the Bitcoin miners, much more so than it did to Bitcoin, which was basically even on the day. So again, if we look at this 15-minute chart, you'll see that we closed the day right here on this red candle, and that was, again, somewhere around $28,240. We've had 3 15-minute candles since then. We have been above yesterday's close the entire time, but obviously this is only a few minutes later, so we'll see where we go overnight. There was a bunch of up and down, so on the 15-minute time frame, this looks like some major volatility. I'm going to go to a 4-hour time frame so that you can see we're actually stuck in a super tight range here. Okay, so this is Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. So you're going to see I have a dotted line here. This is at $27,000. And we have our line of resistance here at $28,800. So even on the 4-hour time candle, you'll see over the course of the last month, we continue to test this line. We can't seem to get through it. On the 4-hour candle, you'll see we have not closed above this. Even on the 15-minute time frame, we haven't closed a candle above this line. So it has held as resistance, but you can see we are very much consolidating. Once again, I'm drawing an arrow here, a yellow arrow, and this time you're going to see it's exactly sideways because really over the last 3 weeks, in my opinion, you can see plus or minus, we have been between 27,000 and 28,800. So we have been consolidating for almost 3 full weeks now. I think that is a good sign. So it is frustrating. This does feel like a long time, but if you guys remember, I'm going to go to the 1-day time frame. We had about 6 or 7 weeks where we were absolutely sideways in November and December. At the end of that consolidation period, we had a gigantic breakout to the upside. So there's no guarantee that that's going to happen here, but I do like what I'm seeing. And you can see even within this range here, we're hanging out at the top of this range for well over a week. I put a big yellow circle. Essentially, this is the same thing. I could have put my yellow arrow across. You can see this was almost 2 months of just being absolutely sideways, caught between these two lines. That was about 15,700 and about 17,500. And really, a lot of this time was spent plus or minus around 16,800, which is this blue line right here. We consolidated for weeks and weeks around this blue line. So again, after that, we did have a gigantic run up. So that doesn't mean that's going to happen every single time, but I do like the consolidation here. So if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see we bottomed out back on March 10th. That was the day that this banking situation started. I'm not going to call it a banking crisis, but the banking situation started. So in that period of time from March 10th until April 5th, which is less than 1 month, we're up 44%. And this is in the middle of a run that's up over 80% since the end of December 2022. If I look at the RSI on the 1-day time frame, you're going to see I've drawn a straight line here. It kind of looks like we've double bottomed in the short term, and we're pretty high on the daily RSI. Back in January of 2023, we got all the way up almost to 90 on the daily RSI. Anything over 70 is considered overbought. We did peak out then in the middle of March. We peaked somewhere in the low 70s, and we seem to be finding some support here at $58. So I'm going to see if this continues sideways. This is a line I'm going to be following. Do we stay above and bounce off this line and maybe take a run back up? Or do we need to go retest 50? Or the third possibility is we turn bearish and we have to go retest 30 on the daily RSI. I'm not looking at that right now. So the daily MACD is not really telling us a lot either. You'll see, obviously, in March we had a very nice run up, but we did have a bearish crossover on the daily time frame now several days ago, 5 days ago. So I think this is playing itself out, and the good news is since that bearish crossover, and we now have 4 red candles on the histogram, we're totally sideways in Bitcoin on the daily candles. So again, this is why I think there's positive consolidation going on. If we can go through the rest of this cycle, go through, even if it takes a week or 10 days to get back to where there's a bullish crossover, there's the potential here for a run up at some point. We have been waiting. I know it's been now 3 weeks sideways, and it could last a longer period of time, but I am going to wait for it until I see a signal that the momentum has changed, and I don't see any of those signals right now. I'm going to continue to wait to see if we can break through this resistance at 28.8 and maybe take the next move upward. So if you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.